Hello, darlings. You've all heard of Marilyn Monroe. Some of you know Bridget Bardot. Well, now it's time for the Cognac show. I said Cognac, ooh, ooh. I said Cognac, ooh, ooh, ooh. I'm a bubbly blonde, fabulously dressed to impress. One of a kind girl. I was brought into this world wrapped up in pearls. I love to mingle, though my husband reminds me I'm not single. I meet and greet both the famous and the elite. I ride in limousines, drinking the finest champagne, wearing furs, dazzling diamond jewelry. A girl can't complain. I live the upscale life, dining in the finest restaurants, eating the best caviar for free. And no matter how much.
Work to form to make Worldwide Neck Cancer Awareness Day a reality. And when the expanded steering committee finally met, I think it was early 2009, something like that, it consisted of not only several U.S. advocacy groups, but also worldwide patient advocates. So if you've worked in a large committee, you know that sometimes coming to agreement on a single point can be a bit of a challenge. And we were sitting there for many hours deciding on what the date of Worldwide Neck Cancer Awareness Day should be. Marianne and I were getting a little silly. We were sitting next to each other and we were goofing off a little bit. And a little silly, and I leaned over and I said, why don't we just tell them to make it your birthday? And she said, I don't want it to be my birthday. Why don't you just make it your birthday? And I said, oh, it sounds pretty good. And I just raised my hand. I said, I think November 10th might work. What does everybody think? Somebody seconded the motion and voted, and now my birthday is Worldwide Neck Cancer Awareness Day. I couldn't believe it. But it is an honor. This is our passion. This is what we do. And we're very excited that I get to share Neck Cancer Day with my birthday. On a more serious note, tonight is a celebration of the lives of NED patients, and we honor the many brave patients and their families who blessed our lives, and we prepare ourselves to keep fighting NED cancer. So it's the end of the year, but it's a renewal for next year. So what we do to fight this deadly disease, we're a nonprofit, and we're dedicated to raising the awareness of neuroendocrine cancer. Plain and simple. We provide support for caregivers and people with NETs and funding for NET cancer research. It's always been our passion to get out there and support the NET community as a whole. And we run conferences, which most of you already know. We had a great one. I don't know if any of you were there, but out in September, we had a great national conference. Over 400 people attended. That's pretty big, and they got a great show. Not only that, but all the camaraderie that comes with sharing all that time with people who understand what you're going through. We run a patient hotline that's open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. every day of the year, and the people that answer that hotline are either a patient or a caregiver, meaning Marianne or myself or our daughter, mainly. But that's very important for us because the people who call are looking for some kind of immediate support. when we understand exactly what they're going through, we're able to do that. So that's a super important program for us. We send out 900 to 1,200 comprehensive information packs every year to patients and caregivers. Basically, it's on request. So for a rare disease, we see a lot of people who are looking for this kind of information. This year, support group leaders around the country became eligible to apply as NCAN chapters starting at the end of 2017, affording them access to a range of services which improve the group's sustainability, provide meeting content, we train them to run meetings, and we provide guest speakers, and today there are 26 chapters more getting involved monthly. Most importantly, we help patients become better advocates for themselves and help them to get the best possible treatment. But professional education is important to us too. We helped organize medical education programs, and we're planning more for 2019. So keep an eye on that. That's super important. More and more is happening, but we feel there's room for more. So what about the future? I would say that our most important future plan, and it's something that we've spoken about for many years, but it's got to stop being in the future, and that's a fellowship program where we begin to train more future neuroendocrine cancer experts. It's very important for neuroendocrine cancer patients, their friends and supporters to be part of this, because who else is going to be involved if we aren't involved? It's got to be us. It has to start here, and the standard of care has to continue to improve. So, how can you help? One of the most important things would be get the word out. Don't be afraid to talk about neuroendocrine cancer. It's a real thing, and it kills people. And so it's great we get out here on our Gala night, and we do this, and we do it because we want everybody to get together and celebrate life. But we do have to talk about the realities so we understand why we're here. So don't be afraid to talk about this. Don't be afraid to learn a little bit about it. You can have a 15-second chat, and people can understand a little better why we do what we do. Also, don't be, here's where I drop the bomb. Don't be afraid to send a donation. Don't be scared. Don't be scared. It'll be okay. And we promise to work really hard to make your gift count and to help as many NET patients and caregivers as possible. Monthly donations mean a lot to us because it helps us to plan our spending. So I'm not going to mention too much more on that, but don't be scared. Okay, I mentioned the fellowship program. We have about $35,000 stocked away for this. I think we need about another 100,000 or so to make this a reality. We're going to train future doctors who can treat neuroendocrine cancer patients. So, this is something that's well worth hearing about, well worth sending a donation for. You can earmark it directly to that program, and we'll use it for that. Okay. So right now, I'm going to turn it over to my lovely assistant, to my beautiful wife, Marianne, and you don't have to listen to me anymore.
So we need to say thank you to many people and businesses who have donated prizes for tonight's raffles, especially my sister Patty Furlong, Diane Zapp, and Rosemary Barrow. 90% of these baskets were donated from those 3 people and were put together by those 3 people. This would not happen without that. We need to thank Diane Community Bank for being a sponsor for several events and helping to run a social media program called Dime Gives Back. So we're going to be coming around with pieces of paper, we're going to write markers on it, and we're going to say what you're thankful for, and then you're going to write Dime Gives Back, and you're going to say support NCAN. And for every one of you that take a picture with this sign and download it to Dime Gives Back, we get $10. Okay? And if you do a video, we get $15. So everybody's here. We're going to have paper later and markers. Please, please, it takes 2 minutes to do. Okay? We also need to thank some important people. One, my son Michael, who is there every minute of the day. Last night we woke up and we looked up and we realized that our background for our little photo booth had no frame. So Michael went out and got a frame for us and built it. Michael spends tireless hours every year recording every conference that we do. He not only has to sit through the conference, but then he has to sit through it to edit it. And then after the editing, he has to sit through it again. So thank you, honey. To Jenny for giving up the weekends with him so we can do this work. For my mother-in-law for putting up with us since we moved to South Carolina to put us up. For Lori and Lou for all your help. For Michael Nats and Rob Nats, thank you so much for your help today. And for our entire family, for your continuous love and support, because we could not continue doing this without your love. And I do have to mention Trisha. Our daughter Trisha cannot be here today because she did have pituitary surgery last week. But Trisha is there every single day helping answer the phones and doing everything for that. So I'd like to also take a minute to talk about our board. These individuals are at the core of NCAN's mission and programs. They get to use their personal vacation time to fly to patient conferences, work long hours with no breaks, and sometimes they even donate their frequent flyer miles to get here. That's the kind of commitment that makes a difference in people's lives, and I'd like to introduce them now. Trisha Wayman, who could not be here, Rhonda Ayala, and Ron Rose, who could not be here tonight. But Lori Magliara, Patty Furlong, Ted Dempsey, and Bob. Each year, NCAN conveys an advisory board meeting to help install new ideas and expertise to our programs. There are many people involved around the country, but we have some of them here tonight, and that includes Patrice Malusa, Millie Kowalski, Diane Zach, and Hank Mulligan. Everybody so far has mentioned, deserves an award for their effort, and we do have an award for one person who has been by our side from day one. For our longtime friend, Hank Mulligan. Would you please come up here? We've had the pleasure of knowing Hank for 13 years. His lovely wife, Grace, who was a net patient, passed away in September 2013, but that did not stop Hank and his crew to come to every one of our events. Hank has been a part of our advisory council, helped run many Long Island support groups, volunteered at conferences, fundraised, shares his story with the caregivers, and has helped them in their journey. We could not do this without your help. Thank you so much. Proceeds from the prizes will be going to continue the mission of NCAN. Okay, so right now we'd like to introduce Sue Adler. Sue called me a couple of months ago, and she had a friend that we had helped with her husband's journey, and Elizabeth gave our number to Sue to help her and her husband's journey. So I'd like her to share a little bit about her husband's journey and how NCAN has helped. First, I'd like to present to you an award for the 15th annual Celebration of Life Gala. Thank you for being our honorary chair.
Oh, this is so sweet. Thank you so much. Okay. First of all, I am honored and humbled to have been asked to be here today. My husband's journey started July 6th, so not too long ago, where he was diagnosed with a stage 4 pancreatic level 2 neuroendocrine tumor. I'm going to read what I wrote so I don't get lost. So today we were in day 9 of round 4 of CAP-TEP chemo, and tomorrow is when the tough days start. But the more I read, the more people that I meet, like all of you, the more and more that I gain knowledge of this rare disease, the more positive I feel, and the more that I know that my husband Joe will live a long and wonderful life. Joe is really one of the lucky ones. He is lucky that he was not misdiagnosed and treated for a sickness that he does not have. I'm told a neuroendocrine tumor is rare, but I'm beginning to think that it's really not that rare at all. In fact, every time we go to the doctor, I sit there and I wonder if I'm sick too, because of the symptoms are what we all have: back pain, flushing. I mean, I get hot flashes all the time lately. And let's face it, we all have these symptoms, and some of us may even tell our doctors that we have these symptoms, and they're dismissed as life. In fact, and I got this from your website, over 90% of all carcinoid neuroendocrine tumor patients are incorrectly diagnosed and treated for the wrong disease. In the first week of Joe's journey, every doctor, the one who said that he had stage 4 liver cancer, the one who said that he had stage 4 stomach cancer, even the chief GI oncologist at Sloan seemed dumbfounded that he didn't have any pain at all, and he was looking and he felt so good. In fact, the chief looked at Joe's scan and said that I'm 99% positive that this is an adenocarcinoma pancreatic cancer, but I have seen miracles. And I just read a story of a man who was told that he had pancreatic cancer and he had less than a year to live. Only after a year that he was still kicking that his doctor said, let's do some further investigation. And this is why I feel so lucky and I feel so blessed that neuroendocrine is a cancer, but to us, to my family, to me and our 4 kids, I feel like it is a gift because it does give him life and time. Jim Tisdale was a very close friend of my brother Jack. His wife Liz is one of my sister-in-law's, Christine's, best friends. Jim died of peanuts about a year ago. And once Joe was diagnosed with the same disease, Liz urged me, Chris urged me, and Jack urged me to make sure that Joe sees a specialist and to contact Marianne. I was so emotional. It was such a very emotional time for me. And I just didn't have any more energy in me to talk to anyone. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to call Marianne, but I'm going to wait till 5 o'clock on a Friday, and that way she'll be done for the day and she can't call me back. So I called at 5, and she called me at 5:01. So I just wanted to say thank you. Because of you and because of all you do, I really feel that one day we will get what we need to bring neuroendocrine cancer into the forefront, and we will find a way to diagnose this early. And it's because of people like you and this organization, so thank you.
Thank Thank you, Steve.
The great thing it is that he makes time to converse, really make time to speak with a patient organization when you hear all the things that he does already for patients. It's amazing. So he's the director of the Rutgers Cancer Institute of New Jersey, serves as vice chancellor for cancer programs for Rutgers Biomedical and Health Sciences, a professor of surgery at Robert Wood Johnson Medical School, and is the senior vice president of oncology services for R.J. Barnabas Health. Not just an administrator, Dr. Libutti also runs a clinical practice, a surgical oncologist, and he's internationally known as an expert in endocrine surgery and the management of neuroendocrine tumors. Under his guidance, the Cancer Institute is actively researching neuroendocrine tumors, and one of Dr. Libutti's goals is to improve access and care for the center's patients. He's authored more than 270 peer-reviewed journals, holds 7 U.S. patents, and serves as editor-in-chief of Cancer Gene Therapy. As you can see, Stephen Libutti is one of the foremost experts and best friends that neuroendocrine cancer patients have. And so it is with great pleasure that I introduce Dr. Stephen K. Libutti, the recipient of the 2018 Oncology Award.
I think we're in video, so we can actually move.
Absolutely.
So, audience, you know this already from coming to the events each year, but the commitment, the passion, the drive to help make progress in understanding this disease and bringing awareness of this disease nationally to, and you heard in the testimonial you just heard, the willingness to pick up the phone and talk to any patient and help them navigate their way through this diagnosis. Really, it is humbling and a privilege to accept an honor in their presence, truly. And I think they deserve a big round of applause for all that they did. I started my career nearly 25 years ago, and when I started my focus in studying these rare tumors at the National Cancer Institute, we had one treatment for pancreatic neuroendocrine tumors, streptozocin, which was a horrible drug, terrible side effects, and not very effective. We really had no specific means of diagnosing these tumors or tracking them, and no therapies that had been developed specifically to treat GI neuroendocrine tumors or pancreatic neuroendocrine tumors. And I'm happy to say now, 25 years later, we have an arsenal of things that we can bring to bear in the treatment of patients with these tumors. In the last 5 years alone, we've had no fewer than 5 or 6 new FDA-approved drugs specifically focused on neuroendocrine tumors, a new diagnostic, gallium-68 scanning, and most recently the FDA-approved peptide receptor radionucleotide therapy, or PRRT, which works for both pancreatic neuroendocrine tumors and gastrointestinal neuroendocrine tumors. So the progress that's been made in the last 5 or 10 years, I think, is more than what we saw in all the years previously. And a lot of that is due to the attention that's been brought to this disease by all of you and by Marion and Bob. One of the things that I think is crucial and critical is we've got the attention finally of the funding agencies that provide grant support for research to allow us to make this progress. You'll be glad to know that the NCI, has a National Cancer Institute, has a neuroendocrine tumor task force that meets twice a month by teleconference. Experts from all around the country at all the major institutions get together by teleconference and talk about the trials we currently have open, new trials on the horizon, and basic research that's taking place. So there is a major focus on this disease now, but not enough. If you say pancreatic cancer, most folks think of adenocarcinoma, as you heard. Most doctors as well don't even know how to approach the workup of these diseases. And the symbol for neuroendocrine tumors, the zebra, is essentially they hear hoofbeats and they think horses. We hear hoofbeats and we know to also think about zebras. And I think that that's critically important. I have to say that I'm more excited now than I've ever been in my career about the progress that we're making in treating this disease. And so I think we have things like immunotherapy to look forward to being applied to neuroendocrine tumors. And there's much work being focused on that, harnessing the body's own immune system to treat these tumors. And I think that's on the horizon. I'd like to thank my family for the support that they've given me over my career that's allowed me to pay attention to doing the work that I love so much. I have some of the members of my family here with me tonight. My cousin Linda Giles is here. My mother is here. You can wave, Mom. And my beautiful wife, Mary, who, without her love, support, I wouldn't be able to do anything that I'm able to do. So thank you both again. This is truly a humbling honor and a privilege to be with you. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Libutti. Hold on one second. Marianne, I'm Marianne's husband, by the way. Marianne wants to say something.
Okay, one last thing before we end. Now that we have the speeches out of the way, just buy raffle tickets, go over to the corner, make sure you get your picture taken, do the photo booth, and most important, have a good time. This is a celebration of life, and we're going to be celebrating. And I want to take one moment just to think about all the people who are fighting this disease and the loved ones that we have lost this year. And just take a moment to be a moment of silence. Okay, thank you everybody. Have a great time.
We'll be back in a moment, darlings. More interviews right here at Cognac's Corner. Pick champagne kisses.
Hello, darlings. You've all heard of Marilyn Monroe. Some of you know Bridget Bardot. Well, now it's time for the Cognac show. I said Cognac, ooh, ooh. I said Cognac, ooh, ooh, ooh.
This has been a Crybaby Productions, darlings.